So as most people know, I made a video yesterday talking about the brand new voter registration numbers that we were getting out of states like Florida, New Jersey, New Mexico, basically all the states that people are talking about. And well, there is no signs of a Trump collapse anywhere. And in fact, the voter registration numbers are indicating there's not a Trump or Republican collapse. No, no. There's a Democrat collapse happening right now. And that's not a surprise to anyone. I mean, we've been talking about this for many months now, no, many years now. All these swing states, even Democrat states like New Mexico, New Jersey, it's been getting more and more Republican. Well, we just got some brand new numbers out of North Carolina, which is a swing state. I know it does lean more to the right, but North Carolina is one of those states that for years now, Democrats were banking on. They were saying, oh, 2024 is going to be the year we win North Carolina. They said the same thing back in 2020, 2016. Basically, every single election since 2008, the Democrat Party has been claiming they're going to win North Carolina, and the second they win it, it becomes a Democrat state. They've been saying this for 15 years now. And well, we just got brand new voter registration, and look at this. In just 1 week, Democrats lost 457 votes, Republicans gained 229. So a net gain of just under 700 voters for the GOP in just 1 week. Just in 1 week, there was just under a 700 vote shift in the state of North Carolina. And this is a big deal because a couple weeks ago, Democrats were claiming, oh, there's a Democrat surge happening. Democrats are surging everywhere. Trump is unpopular. Trump is hated by 80% of Americans. There's a collapse happening. All right, they were claiming that. And yesterday we talked about this and we found no signs of this magical collapse. And now we get North Carolina to update their numbers, which is a swing state. It's not a safe Republican state, though. It does lean to the right, but there's no sign of a Republican collapse. And in fact, there are signs of a Democrat collapse. And right now, the Democrat advantage in North Carolina is shrinking every single day. And for those that don't know, yeah, Democrats have a voter registration advantage in the state. They've had it since, well, for the last 50 years. But every single day, this margin gets smaller and smaller and smaller. I mean, just 5 years ago, Democrats held a 200,000 vote advantage in the state. And now, every single week, they're losing 1,000 every week. And at some point, probably this year, for the first time possibly ever, it's probably going to flip Republican, which if that happens, I don't see how Democrats can claim, oh, there's a magical surge happening and the Republican Party is dying. If that's the case, why are you collapsing in North Carolina? This is a state that, yeah, Trump won it, but by 3 points. It's not this safe Republican state. It's not like Florida, which Trump won by 13. It's not like Texas, where he won it by 14, or even Arizona. He won the state of Arizona by 6. North Carolina is roughly a Trump plus 3 state. Yet every single week, the Democrat advantage keeps shrinking. All right, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's not just Democrats losing voters, it's Republicans gaining. Which is very strange because usually the party in the White House, they tend to do pretty bad in voter registration. They tend to have some major problems, but right now, the Republican Party, they're not having any problems. And in fact, compared to 2024, it seems like they're surging. While Democrats, they're experiencing their own collapse, which makes sense because right now the Democrat Party, their favorability is 21%. Basically, every single poll since January, they have shown the same thing. Democrats below water by 50 points. Democrat minus 60. Minus 70, minus 80. It's awful. And every day it gets worse. And it makes sense because, hey, the Democrat Party, they're going even more insane. Every single day, they take an even more radical position that the average American is against. And they wonder why they're not seeing a magical surge. Gee, I wonder why. It's as if the average voter believes you're batshit crazy. I mean, they may not like Trump or the GOP, but they know they're not insane. The Democrat Party, meanwhile, they are. They are utterly insane. Now, I would argue that the more you dig into these numbers, the more you realize, oh, wait, this is a much bigger problem, which sounds kind of crazy because these numbers look horrible. I mean, the Democrats losing voters constantly like this, that's bad. But if you look at specific counties, like, for example, Onslow County, North Carolina, all right, this might be the best example as to what's going wrong with the Democrat Party. In 2020, they had roughly 30,000 voters in this county, okay? 30,000. Now, this is a fairly Republican area, so compared to the state, the county population is kind of small, but the point is, they had 30,000 voters. As of now, they only have 21,000 voters in this county. Yeah, in the span of just 5 years, a third of their voter block in this one area just vanished. And for those that are wondering, this is a fast-growing area. This is an area that has a shrinking population. No. In the 2020 census, their population grown by roughly 15%. 2010, it grown by 18%. So it's a rapidly growing area, which you would think would benefit Democrats. I mean, that's been the theory for years. Oh, these areas that have exploding populations, they're all Democrats. All the people moving here, they're all partisan Democrats. They all vote the same. It turns out, no, that's not the case. So they're not just, not gaining voters in a rapidly growing area. They're just losing them. These people are not coming back. These are fast-growing areas. These are not areas that have shrinking populations. They don't have 5 people living there. This county has like 217,000 people. Yet they're shrinking. The Democrat Party in this area is shrinking. That's the problem. They're losing voters everywhere, including areas that mathematically, even if they're stagnating, even if they're losing support, they should still be going up just for the simple fact that people are moving here. But they're not. In fact, more and more people are leaving the Democrat Party. This is bad for Dems. This is horrible. And the worst part is, Democrats were banking on a state like North Carolina to become a stronghold. I mean, let's just look at the electoral map right now. I know we've gone over this a bunch, but this is the current map, all right? I know there's been an updated census in a couple years, but this is a current map for 2028. So, right now, the Republican pathway to the White House is very simple. Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, blah, blah, blah. We've gone over this a million times. But right now, the map, it looks even better for the GOP because they are looking strong in a place like Arizona, like Nevada, and even a place like Pennsylvania. I mean, Pennsylvania's voter registration is looking bad for Dems. In fact, probably the one state that's even worse than North Carolina. So under the current map, if they win Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, which the numbers look pretty good in these states, if they win North Carolina, it doesn't matter what Democrats do. They could win Wisconsin, win Michigan, win Georgia, but they lose. That's why North Carolina is becoming an increasingly important state. It leans more to the right, but Republicans winning North Carolina is a big deal because it effectively shuts off a easy pathway for Dems, because under this current map, they have to win everything. I mean, they can afford to lose like Michigan or even like Georgia or Wisconsin, but if they lose Georgia and Wisconsin, they lose. If they lose just Pennsylvania, it's over. So under the current map, they have to run the table to barely win. And if they just lose Pennsylvania, it's over. So that's why North Carolina is actually a big deal, because if Republicans hold on to North Carolina, their pathway to the presidency is actually kind of simple. Just win Pennsylvania and you win. Or you win Georgia and win any other state. It doesn't matter if it's Wisconsin, Michigan, hell, maybe pull off the upset in New Hampshire and you barely win. That's why North Carolina is a big deal. And Democrats for years, they were banking on this idea of, well, Georgia's becoming a more Democrat state, which in recent years it looks like maybe that trend's not holding up. But the point is, they were thinking, well, Georgia's becoming more competitive. It's becoming more Democrat. Maybe the same thing is occurring in North Carolina. And under this map, it becomes a lot easier for the Democrat Party. All they have to do is win either Michigan or Pennsylvania, and they win. That's all they need. So that's why they were banking on North Carolina. That's why they desperately needed a state like North Carolina, because the current map looks awful for them. And a reminder that the 2030 census, it's going to get even worse. Democrats are losing so many electoral votes in a place like California, New York, these very Democrat areas, and they're going to Texas, Florida, Arizona, areas that are more Republican, Tennessee. So their pathway becomes even more difficult. But now, their Hail Mary strategy, which they tried in 2024, reminder, Harris tried to win North Carolina. People forget about that. Her campaign thought we could maybe win North Carolina, and that could be just enough to barely win the presidency if we win Georgia and Pennsylvania. But it didn't work. Trump swept all the swing states, and he won basically every swing state by a good margin. He won Georgia by 2, North Carolina by 3, Pennsylvania by 2, Michigan by 1.5, Arizona by 6. It was a very big victory for Trump. And he did great in a place like New Jersey, which is the other problem. I mean, Democrats, they're not really gaining in any of the swing states. At the same time, they're in trouble in a place like New Jersey, potentially. I'm not saying it's going to flip, but the numbers are looking awful for Dems. Hell, even New Hampshire, there are signs that maybe the Democrats are in trouble there. So, at this point, the map is looking even more difficult for Dems. I'm not saying they're going to lose New Hampshire or New Jersey, but under the current math, which a lot could change, anything could happen the next couple of years, the Democrat Party has to effectively run the table. That's why these numbers are not good. This is awful for Dems. They were banking on a magical surge. They were banking on this idea that, well, Republicans are collapsing and we're going to have a magical surge that will win us North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, all these states. But in reality, they're not seeing a surge. In fact, they are seeing a collapse, just not in their favor. They're seeing a collapse of themselves in all these swing states, and it looks like things are going to get even worse. I mean, this is happening right in the middle of the trade war where Trump's popularity was supposedly sinking, but in reality, the party registration got even worse for Dems. Even in a place like North Carolina, even in a place like Iowa, Pennsylvania, every swing state right now is showing the same trends. Democrats keep going down. Republicans are surging everywhere. That's why this is a big problem for Dems. And I don't know how they recover from this. I mean, anything could happen. Maybe Democrats do have a comeback. I understand that. That's a possibility. But right now, how can anyone say this is actually looking good for Dems? How? Is there a single data point here that indicates a good thing for Dems? They're about to lose their advantage in North Carolina. I mean, if they weren't able to win North Carolina when they led voter registration by like 300,000 votes or whatever, how the hell can they win when they're down in voter registration? How? It's as if voter registration is a good indicator. Is it perfect? No. But in 2024, it correctly predicted a Republican surge across the board. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.